a lot of people around basketball obviously weighed in on the shooting. And again, I know some people in the chat are going to be like, comply. And some people in the chat are going to be like, there was a tragedy. There's an issue at play here that the players care about immensely. We'll try to keep it as non-political. But it's going to wade into NBA waters now. And you can either accept that and continue to enjoy the sport or walk away, because it's not going away. I mean, this is issues that these players care about. It's in their own communities, and they want to address it, whether you like it or not. And so Jaylen came out after the game again tonight, didn't want to address basketball. I think the exact quote was, want everybody to stay safe, and, just see less of this happening. Forget just police shootings. In this country over the last 7 days, we saw a school shooting. We've seen multiple school shootings since the country just kind of opened up again. Just so much tragedy around the country right now. I mean, we've seen a couple officers killed at the Capitol, and it's just a turbulent time. And I think consider too, when it comes to the league this year, is all the stuff that they have to deal with inside their heads. We talk about noise and criticism. We talk about fatigue, mental, and dealing with COVID cases, along with stuff going on in the world that they have to juggle around kind of in a space where they can't get out there and do anything about it. And I think it's immensely difficult, where we think of these guys as bulletproof. Think about them being noise to the absolute degree. And this way, and I know you've talked to a lot of players over the years and kind of gotten into some of this real world stuff with them. They are more transparent and stuff at a higher level than people think. Like, this stuff is criticism, real world stuff, and obviously family stuff as well. When you think of Karl-Anthony Towns missing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's easy to forget how serious they take that responsibility, right? Because it's obviously something that's been passed down, whether it's what they've seen in the past, or whether it's, growing up and being able to speak on particular platforms of social media, whereas past generations didn't necessarily have that. So, I think all of that comes with the territory. So obviously we're talking about the majority of these NBA players that grow up in those, kind of environment, and they know this is the best chance to reach so many people. The fact that they play in the NBA, the fact that they, make, X amount of dollars, and they're able to use that power. I think it's a great thing, obviously, but also I think it's easy to forget that they're taking this stuff home as well. It's stuff that maybe doesn't hit particularly hard for some players, but for others it does. So I think it's so important that Jaylen keeps that, keeps everyone in check, in the sense of like, listen, we're dealing with this, other players are dealing with that, dealing with these issues. And this is something that affects everyone. And it'll be interesting to see what the NBA does moving forward, especially in the postseason. It's kind of a scary time, Bobby, if you really think about it. I mean, you touched on it perfectly to in the beginning, when you talk about the country opening up. A lot of cities are just now opening back up again. And there's a lot of these mass shootings and these tragedies going on across the nation that can really put everyone in a really scary place to be, as the cities are trying to open back up. And of course, just here in Boston, with the nice weather out, and of course, this is that time when people start to go back out, and we're seeing that already with the new phase, and now that sporting events are allowing, spectators to come back in. So yeah, it's I'm not surprised to see this from out of Jaylen Brown, but I just to see the rest of what the NBA has to, what they have to say, or what they're going to do moving forward, it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, they all touched on it a little bit. Greg Popovich, of course, was most pointed in it. I mean, he went on
I'm sure he did.
Political crusade there, and then even called out the owners of this league. He said, and what I really love to touch on the intersectionality of all this stuff. Like, there's a gazillion guns in America, and so cops are running into people thinking they have guns. Of course, people in cars are having guns pointed at them, and there's just this whole fear factor there on both sides.
Yeah.
And of course, when it comes to that school shooting issue, it's a stagnant issue for a long, long time. Like, there's a sense on one side to do anything about it, and then people on one side want to do a lot of stuff about it, and that kind of creates a stalemate there. But Pop ended up saying, all these issues kind of come together. We're not going to change them. Every solution that gets put on the table, it's no. Basically at status quo for decades now. And he said, maybe we'll look at the owners here and see what they're supporting. Like NBA owners right now, they got $1 gazillion. This is kind of what the players did in the bubble. They said, all right, Milwaukee Bucks, we had a shooting in the Milwaukee area. What are these owners doing to impact change in the Milwaukee community? That was kind of the direction Pop took on this. I think Doc mentioned something along the lines of, we're talking about Black Lives are being canceled. He kind of did like a little spin on that. Again, I think people are just exhausted. And I think this is what people, when it comes to players and how they're performing this year, whether they need to take a step out of the lineup for a few days like Kyrie has. Karl-Anthony Towns did it tonight, of course, on the 1 year death. I think what you can owe these athletes at the very least, even if you don't support what they're talking about, is at least empathize that they're feeling, and you don't have to absolutely nail them because you disagree with them.
Right, exactly. And I think as a whole, a lot of the community is starting to understand that, or at least the NBA community as a whole. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with 2020, having that extra time to really think about things. Obviously, everyone watched what was going on CNN and, during that hectic time. And that obviously resonated in the NBA, and we saw what they did in the bubble and the demonstrations that they did. And this is a conversation that maybe people that they never had before or weren't comfortable with having, they were forced to have. And I think that's at the end of the day the overall goal. When the Celtics spoke out about it, when the NBA decided that they were going to stay in the bubble and use that platform for obviously not to just finish the regular season and the playoffs, but to also, talk about a serious topic that's going on across the nation that touches so many lives. So you look at all that, and the NBA is going to do their due diligence, and I just think they set the tone just like they did last year. They continue to do that. In the beginning, they set the tone, I think, for all major leagues, all four major sports, and I think they'll continue to do that. I just hope that we'll see a positive outcome before hopefully something happens at the end of the day. It's tough, Bobby. I just hope it doesn't get dark. I hope it doesn't get darker before things get better.
No, and you know how I am, Josue. I can say a lot more than this, but I don't want to take this Garden Report. I don't want to take this Garden Report program and make it something different right now. I'm just trying to. All I really want to get out of this is make people accept the conversation and that it's going to happen, and that we have to have it. I don't care whether you agree or disagree. I always see we post a lot of these videos of people reacting to these incidents when this stuff happens. And sports fans in general just go, get it out of my face. I don't want to deal with this. I didn't come here for this. And it's like certain people can't flip a switch and tune it out of their lives. So, I don't think anyone deserves to do it.